Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Spiritual Awareness Journey program, a virtual spiritual talk platform where the practical application of all things spiritual in our daily living is shared and discussed by experienced speakers from all walks of life, with guests, realized souls called Mahatmas. This hour today is brought to you by Manav Dharam YouTube channel, and I'm your host today, Xavier Nandha. And we are delighted to welcome you from all around the world to spend this hour with us as we address this week's topic, which is habit cultivation. We are delighted to introduce you to the experienced panel, our two speakers today, Mr. Xavier Romo and Mrs. Sharmila Nandha, and our guest speaker today, Mahatma Vyoma, will elaborate on the importance of becoming conscious of our habits and understanding that we, by adopting new patterns of behaviors, have the potential to change our lives completely. And we can become a more conscious and successful person in all aspects of our lives as we build a solid foundation with good physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual habits. For as we know, we are all creatures of habit. And as humans, we all belong to this one race, this human race. And as the human being, we yearn to belong and understand the purpose of our life as we seek to know the real quest of our journey here on Earth. We hope that with all the sharing of our speakers in this hour, you'll feel inspired to know more about the need of cultivating positive habits that will enhance the awareness of spiritual connectivity with our own true self. The true self that in reality is the part and parcel of our divine essence, and learn that we, by acquiring spiritual knowledge, can adopt new spiritual habits and gain the understanding of how to forge a connectivity with our true self. And from there, start our own practical spiritual awareness journey, consciously expanding our spiritual potentials, becoming acquainted with our own divine consciousness to find peace, joy, and purpose in this life we live in. By journeying together as the spiritual beings here on Earth, in this human existence, reach our true goal, which everyone knows, and I've spoken about before, is spiritual enlightenment. I'm excited to introduce to you today our first speaker today, Mr. Xavier Romo. Javier lives in the exotic city of Guadalajara in Mexico, which I've been fortunate enough to visit, and he's participated as a volunteer in Manav Dharam Society activities since 2001. The activities of Manav Dharam Mexico include a mission education program. He works for an NGO in Guadalajara as an environmental educator. And with no further ado, I'd like to pass on the mic to Xavier Romo. Over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. And first of all, I would like to apologize for my broken English, and also that I am not an expert. I'm just here trying to share some of my experience from my own journey in this spiritual journey. And today we are going to be talking about how we can find a better life if we cultivate good habits in our life. And having this in mind, I have in my mind very present the people who taught me something important in my life. And I'm very sure that is the case for everyone. Maybe a family member, maybe a professor, maybe a friend. And we arrive here with our own baggage of good habits and bad habits. Maybe, well, I can say that I have been very lucky to meet people who are very disciplined in their lives, very clean, that they like to have good food, they like to have healthy life, and also bad habits we learn. And I want to put an example of my own life. But many years ago, my mother gave me a guitar. I was a kid. I still have that guitar. And the guitar is new, it's on its case. I never was interested in learning the guitar after a few months ago. And of course, I am not a good guitarist. I Because I never was interested in doing this, and after some time, I met a very great soul like Vyoma Baiji, who is here. I met somebody here in Guadalajara many years ago. He passed away last year, but it was very important because he was talking about men know thyself, and I was attracted to this idea of men know thyself, and I was thinking, but I know who I am. And at the end he told me, but are you sure that you know who you are? Because I was thinking, yes, I am this guy whose photograph, name, and nationality appears in this passport. Look, this is who I am. And then I started to realize that we are more, that we are this body, we are this mind, but we are also this energy, this soul, whatever you want to call it. And Mahatmaji told us that we can reach there if we have good habits in life, if we have if we develop good patterns in our own lives. And I was thinking at the time, well, I don't consider myself like a real bad person, but of course I have a lot of bad habits in my life. And Mahatmaji told me, it doesn't matter. You are not perfect. Anybody's perfect. You can have a lot of bad habits in your life, but it is time to change. You are not what you do. You are not what you wish to do. You are not what you dream to do. You are not what you are talking about. I can say that I am the best person and I am very honest, but if I lie, I will be known as a liar. I will be known as a thief if I rob. And the habits that we have in life, we will master them the more we are into them. And he told me, if you are a good person, let's say that you are a very disciplined person, and if you practice discipline, you will have a good impact in your life. But if you continue to being lazy, you will be your life won't be very good, but you can change. And he told me that the good habits that we have, and the whatever things that we perform in our lives is like preparing the soil. Like if we were a farmer prepares their soil. And if a soil contains only minerals and sand, soil, and minerals, whatever, it is a bad soil. A good soil contains millions and billions of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and in a good soil, whatever you put on it, uh, it will grow full of nutrients. Whatever you put there, it will grow. And he told me that if you uh, practice good habits, it's like preparing this soil. If you practice bad habits, it's like if you are poisoning the soil with agrotoxics. So you have to choose what to put in your soil, and the soil is within you. And this way, if you try to, somebody wants to plant something good in you, it will grow. And I think that when I met him, I was very inspired and I wanted to know more about myself, and I wanted to change some good stuff that I know was there and still is. But this seed of like the knowledge of trying to go inside, trying to know who you really are, is very important because he told me that, look, it's like if you want to turn on the light in your room, if you want to clean your room and the light is off, you are not going to be able to clean anything. You need the light on. In the same way, if you start to thinking that you want to go into this journey of spiritual awareness to knowing who you are, you have to practice certain things also. You have to develop new patterns in your life. Maybe some of these patterns you have learned it already, maybe not. And you have to be very disciplined, you have to practice, you have to be aware of the breath that you are breathing in and breathing out. You have to meditate, you have to practice service for the others, and in a selfless way. And I was thinking, this seems to be very complicated. But he said, in nature, this is not complicated. Nature is never confused. Nature gives and never expects anything back. Nature only gives. It's like I was once traveling here, and in a small community, and it was very hot, very hot, and it was nothing on the fields. Only we saw only a single tree on the hill, and under the shadow of that on a single tree, there were a lot of cows and animals taking rest. And I was feeling, I feel like that cow that is taking rest in this shadow of this great soul that is helping me to develop new habits in my life. And I think that when you start trying to know yourself, you will know that you have to do something, because you cannot become a very wise person from one day to another. You have to practice. You have to. It is something like learning any discipline in life. For example, if you want to start learning, let's say, violin, you want to play violin, and you learn by yourself watching YouTube videos and learning to how to play violin, and then you go to a very good teacher who plays in the orchestra. The teacher probably is going to tell you, first you have to remove your bad learnings, and then I will teach you the good lessons, because I know I'm the master of the violin. And if you want to become a master of the violin too, you have to learn it properly. So the good habits, maybe I was feeling myself that, okay, there are some good habits that I learn in my life. There are some bad habits that I have to discard. And by the teachings of this great soul and the inspiration of this great soul, I have to start working on the good lessons and start to developing these new patterns in my own life, if I want to have my life better. Because he told me a very nice thing. He said that if you want to become a good person, if you want to be aware of who you are, uh, slowly and gradually you will realize that you are not uh, alone in this world, that you are connected with everyone, that you are connected with even with the trees, with the universe, with the other people, and you will start realizing that you are no more, you are not less than anybody, and that you have to, you have the opportunity to make your life better. And for me, this was very good, because after some time I started to realize that when you practice meditation, let's say, when you try to go within yourself, automatically something happens in you, that it is not your mom who is scolding you, please don't do this, please don't do that. It is like an inner voice inside yourself, that the moment you are lying, the moment you are lazy, the moment you are doing something wrong, something is like is ringing the bell inside and says, stop it, you have to change, you have to think what good habits you have to do in your life. even if it is having food, good food, etc. I remember when Mahatma was here, he told us you have to be vegetarian. You all have to be vegetarian. For example, if you want to have good health, please stop eating meat. And I was almost 100 vegetarian at that time, and I was thinking, oh, I'm not sure if I am going to be able to do it, because if somebody tells you don't do this, you immediately want to do it. And but slowly and gradually, if you practice, if you're in good company, if you are in the company of good words, good people, if you try to become aware of who you are through this spiritual journey, and then this inner voice that was sleeping there starts to waking up and starts to telling you, please do this, please don't do that. And it's like a beacon that wherever you are going out of the track, you are putting your hands firmly on the steering wheel, and you are not going to go out of the road. So for me, developing new patterns in life, good habits, having good habits in life, it is essential. And it doesn't matter if, like myself, we have a lot of bad habits. Those can be removed, and but the key is to know how to remove them, because our mind sometimes is stronger than us and lead us to this path of trying to repeat one time after another the bad habits. But with this thing that is bigger than our mind, we can start having control over our own lives and have a better life for us. So I hope that we all be better persons and cultivate good habits in life. And thank you all. I'm very happy to see you all, and please stay, and I will tell you only that it's very good that we have people like Vyoma here, and great souls that are trying to inspire us from their wisdom and experience in their lives, because they, in order that to change our lives for better. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. That was great to hear. And I'm sure everyone here has been able to take something from your spiritual journey that you've been able to portray to us today. I loved how you were able to almost bring about the fact that practice, as we say, is so key, no matter what you do, whether it is playing an instrument or doing stuff that is personally, internally done. So I love how you're bring that about and almost bring it to the forefront of what we're trying to talk about today, which is a positive mind frame and cultivating positive habits. Your comparison of soil was a really interesting example, and I think everyone from here can take something from that to say that if we need soil, like was said, that requires millions of microorganisms to be able to develop great flowers, etc. In the same vein, we need to do that with ourselves internally. And you portrayed it greatly to say that going internally helps to build that great nature within you. And so it was lovely to hear. And I'm sure everyone here has been able to take something away from your speech today. As we now move on to our second speaker today, our second speaker today is Mrs. Sharmila Nandha. And we are moving from exotic climes to less exotic climes now. So she comes from Leicester in the United Kingdom, and she works as an office administrator in a primary school. She enjoys working around children and connecting with the wider community. And she's been a member of Manav Dharam for over 20 years alongside her family, and has been supporting the ashram activities within the UK. More recently, she's been part of the organising team of the global virtual programs, which I'm sure people will have seen from Manav Dharam. With the guidance of her spiritual master, Satbaji Maharaj, she loves to help spiritual awareness and share her experiences, her spiritual journey with all around us. With no further delay, here to speak to us is Mrs. Sharmila Nandha. Over to you.
Greetings to all. Thank you, Kavi, for the kind introduction. I feel truly honored to be given an opportunity to share my views on the Spiritual Awareness Journey program today. Today's topic is habit cultivation, which my colleague I just spoke about. And we all have our daily routines and certain habits which we have developed over the years with repetition. Some habits are good and some are not so good. But in either case, once a habit is formed, it is very hard to break it. We are all aware what good habits are and what bad habits are. However, even though we know certain habits are not so good, we carry on without making much attempt to change them. At times, it feels like they will just go away somehow. To be aware of the habits that need changing is the first step, I would say. Cultivating good habits is a challenge. Habits don't form overnight. It takes a lot of practice, patience, and perseverance, the three P's. It also depends on the reason you're trying to form the habits and how strongly you feel about it. We have to identify the reason first of all and then set realistic goals. We have to make time to develop good habits and give it importance and priority. Sometimes we also need an incentive to be able to develop good habits. Once we work hard on developing good habits, it brings a positive change in our lives. I will give you a personal example. I was recommended to change my diet and lifestyle for health purposes. So, to start with, I found it hard to bring the changes as I was used to doing things in a certain way. I had to introduce small changes at a time in my diet and being more active. I had to keep reminding myself why I was doing it, as it is very easy to fall back to your old habits. With constant practice, I gradually formed better habits and also started seeing positive changes in my health. So, with patience and perseverance, I managed to form good habits and get rid of some bad habits health wise. So, let's look at some of the good habits we can think about. To take time out for yourself and be kind to yourself is a good habit. We all need to have a good physical and mental health. We heard about wellness in our last program, where the speakers elaborated really well on the subject of health. For physical health, most of us know what to do generally. As I just mentioned, a healthy diet and an active lifestyle helps. It is hard to incorporate all this in our busy lives sometimes, but by practice, it will become like a second nature to us. For mental health, it is very important to take some time out for yourself every day. We should form a habit of spending some time alone, doing something we enjoy. It could be something like reading, writing, art, playing music, singing, dancing, or meditating. If one concentrates on any activities they're doing, it is a form of meditation in a way. In the past year or so, we have all seen a very turbulent time due to the pandemic. However, many of us had a chance to have some time to ourselves during the lockdown period. For a long period of time, a lot of things in the outer world have been restricted. For example, all the leisure activities, traveling, shopping, etc. This has forced us to withdraw ourselves from the external world and become more introvert. Unknowingly, of taking some time out and staying away from the material world. Previously, we had a habit of rushing around as it seemed that was a normal way of living. It will be hard to step back into the busy lifestyle again, no doubt. However, we may have learned to live our life a bit better and appreciate it more. Another good habit is to keep company of positive people, as Javier said as well. That way, we can get rid of all negativity within ourselves. We will gradually form a habit of looking at the glass half full rather than half empty. Some of us have a habit of thinking of the worst in every situation, while some of us will find something good in every situation. And that's the best way to remain happy. One negative thought leads to another, and it manifests many more. For example, a still water lake would be very calm without any turbulence. However, if we throw a pebble into the lake, it will cause a ripple, which will cause multiple waves. The waters will no longer be calm. In the same way, in our mind, just one negative thought will multiply two more. It works the same for positive thoughts too. One positive thought will multiply and manifest positivity. To have discipline in our lives is a very important habit to develop. In this day and age, that is something most of us lack. People generally have a casual approach to life. In the past, we know that our elders lived a more disciplined life than we do now. They lived a simple but happy and healthy lifestyle. They woke up on time, had meals on time, went to sleep on time. Nowadays, we tend to do the opposite. Our body clock gets affected by going against nature. Our body is designed naturally to function in a certain way depending on the time of the day. People who always have a set routine when it comes to eating, sleeping, etc., maintain their health much better. In the modern way of living, we actually ruin our health in the long term. In some of the scriptures as well, it mentions about having a good diet, as Javier mentioned as well. It is very important. We have to discipline our mind to stay away from forming bad habits. It is very easy to develop habits, but very hard to break them. For example, we may have a sweet tooth and have a habit of eating lots of sweets. And from my example, from my experience, that is one habit very hard to break. And it almost becomes like an addiction. But it is not impossible though. If we put our mind to it and have a strong willpower, the mind, however, is not that easy to control. It runs at a very high frequency, and only something that runs at a higher frequency can slow it down. This can be achieved by meditation, by connecting the mind to the soul, the inner consciousness. The mind is very subtle and can only be controlled by something subtler. A true spiritual master imparts the knowledge and a technique to control our mind, which is an important aspect in life. If we let our mind wander here, there, and everywhere, we will always be agitated and stressed. You will have noticed that if you're thinking about too many things at once, it mentally tires you out. Everyone wants to be happy and calm, but find it hard to be in that state all the time. The mind has no brain and goes where we direct it. Therefore, we have to attach it, direct it to something calm and serene to feel happy and blissful. Walking on the spiritual path has helped me to form good habits in life and breaking some of the bad habits. I have learned to appreciate life more. Recently, I have formed a habit of listening to spiritual talks regularly, opposed to once in a while before. Listening to inspirational talks has helped me to stay positive in the most difficult times. I have learned to apply the spiritual knowledge I received from a master in my day-to-day life and practice meditation. I have learned to balance spirituality with family and work commitments. To practice spirituality does not mean that we have to give up on other things in life. In fact, spirituality enhances one's life and makes it more worthwhile and enjoyable. Spirituality and habit cultivation work hand in hand. If you develop good habits, it will instigate you to be more spiritual. And if you are spiritual, it will instigate you to cultivate good habits. So the key to maintain good habits to me is to remember the 3 P's: practice, perseverance, and patience. Practice makes perfect, as we all know. So let us all keep our mind on building those positive habits. As we take each step towards positive habits, negativity will slowly start to go away. It will make an enormous difference in our lives. The only way to experience is to try and see it for ourselves, and I'm sure we won't be disappointed. Thank you all for your time and listening to my views on the subject of habit cultivation.
Thank you, Sharmila Nandha, for your gems of wisdom today. I'm sure you probably saw me smiling a few times there because you were able to bring out some examples which ring true to me. So I'm sure everyone here has been able to take something away. The way you were able to almost analyze it to the fact of your diet and seeing these key changes you made, which were able to better your habits, and in the same vein, see those changes. Once someone sees those changes, it almost enhances your mind to say, let's keep this going, let's keep powering on. This was clearly helping myself. So I'd love to hear that sort of story and almost establish how you're able to change yourself and change those habits you have. As you said, rushing around, I think everyone here knows that and has the same vein, is going about their day-to-day lives, really rushing it down, but calming ourselves down, taking our time, doing stuff for us is clearly going to be a great habit to instill in ourselves to get us into that place we want to be. And as you said, it goes hand in hand, habit cultivation and spirituality. And I think that's the key point. And the 3 Ps, as you just to hammer it down today, the 3 Ps of practice, perseverance, and patience are key to breaking these habits and changing your life. So thank you for those great words today. As we move on to our final speech today, we're concluding our Spiritual Awareness Journey program, and we are honored to present to you our last speaker today, who is a realized soul, Mahatma Vyoma Baiji. Mahatma Vyoma Baiji is a realized soul from Haridwar, India. Mahatma Vyoma Baiji is a disciple of Sadhguru Sri Satpalji Maharaj, and she has been spreading the message of spirituality and peace to humanity for the last 20 years in the service of Satpalji Maharaj through Manav Dharam Seva Samiti in India, which is a spiritual organization. Her spiritual discourses have spreading the spiritual awakening message in various parts of India, mainly the Himalayan states of Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Nepal, Bihar, South India, and Delhi. And today she has come to share with us her deeper understanding of habit cultivation. Let's all receive Mahatma Vyoma Baiji's enlightened words of wisdom, an open heart and an open mind. Thank you so much, Mahatma Vyoma Baiji.
We just listen to words of wisdom from Srimati Sharmila Nandha and our brother from Mexico. So I am so glad to hear from all of you and discuss the topic of habit cultivation here on this platform of spiritual awareness journey. So just like what Miss Nanda told us, that we all have some good habits, some bad habits. We are bundle of habits. So she very rightly said that habits are not formed overnight. They slowly take place and take root in your personality. So we must remember what a Chinese philosopher said about the process of forming habit. What he has said is that Lao Tzu, he has said that first thoughts come to your mind, and your thoughts turn into words. Your words turn into actions, and your actions turn to habit, and your habit decide your destiny. So these are the word of wisdom from Lao Tzu, a great philosopher. That is very true. So we first of all, to change our habits, we must see how, from where they are coming from. So they are coming creative, are born in our thoughts first. So watch your thoughts and see why they are coming, why a certain pattern of thoughts are coming into your mind. So you can stop your habits there only. So bad habits keep you unhappy, and good habits make you feel lighter. And when you shed away all your bad habits, you eliminate them. First of all, you will have to try hard to eliminate them. But once you have shed them all and eliminated them all, you will feel such a as if a load of burden, a lot of burden lifted from your shoulders. So the main reason the bad habits created are the one of the most important mother of all bad habits. What I think is irresponsibility, denying responsibility, not taking responsibility for anything. So when you start being irresponsible, then slowly all bad habits start coming to you. They become part of your personality. So irresponsible person, like suppose there is a rich man and he's got a son, and his son is not taking responsibility of his business empire, or all he is not taking interest, he is irresponsible. Then what will happen? Slowly he will find the company of bad people, bad friends, and then in company of bad friends he will learn to drink, smoke, drugs, womanizing, and all these qualities, all these vices will start coming into his nature. So how he cultivated the bad habits? The first reason, the root of all bad habits is irresponsibility. So first we must cultivate the habit of being responsible, take responsibility. And slowly when you become responsible for everything, then you start to be punctual, you start to be honest, you start being hardworking. And when you are responsible, and when you have the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge within you, and you start being responsible, then slowly you will be honest also. So all these qualities will start growing, developing inside you, and the bad habits will automatically go away. A responsible person will never drink, a responsible person will never quarrel, and a responsible person will never blame others for any faults, any mistakes. So the first quality or habit we must try to bring is responsibility. Then another bad habit we have is trying to control others. So when we are trying to control others, and if they are not coming into your control, though you will be frustrated and angry, and then you will be very angry and very frustrated. So don't try to control others. Instead of trying to control others, try to control your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, your reactions. So that will be more, that will bring you happiness more if you try to control yourself. So how to control ourselves and cultivate our habit of being cool and happy? So that comes from the practice of yoga, the practice of meditation. By practicing meditation, we slowly can control the urge. We slowly can control the urge to control others, to rule others. There are many urges created in our thought. They will all stop there only if we meditate. So every day a meditation of at least an hour is very necessary for us to stop all the habits, all the bad habits, to eliminate all the bad habits. And then we have to, for that we'll have to do consistent effort, practice. Without practice, we will not gain anything. Then again, when we come to our mind is playing games, thinking about different thoughts, and wishing something, we wishing for wealth, wishing for money, fame, name. And that we called what in as in Gita, what Lord Krishna has said, that in a Sanskrit verse of Gita, that is ध्यायते विषयान् पुंस संगस्तेषु पजायते संगात संजायते काम कामात क्रोध विजायते. So what Lord Krishna explains in Gita is that when you remember and constantly think about the subject of your senses, like suppose you constantly thinking about a girl, or a girl thinking about a boy, and you are constantly thinking, then that constant thinking will bring about the greed to get that girl or to get that boy. So that greed or lust will result in, if somebody is there who stops you from getting that girl, or somebody coming in between the both of you, the subject of your desires, then you will get anger, you will get krodha, anger. So you will get krodha. And then when when very angry, when you are very angry, what will happen next is that you will be hypnotized, your mind will be hypnotized with anger, and you will not know what you are doing, what your actions are going to be. You will become violent, and you will you will harm anyone, and that harm will result in total destruction of your personality, and your wisdom will be totally finished then when your mind is full of anger. So that's why Lord Krishna says that don't think about your subjects of desire, about remembering God. Recite the name of God, remember the name of God, meditate deeply, and with hard training you can meditate every day deeply. And the deep meditation will remove all vices from your mind, and the habits there only in their root will be or eliminated. You don't have to do anything else. When you start meditating, just like I was listening to our brother from Mexico and our sister from Leicester, so I both agree with them. I agree with them both. And that is, with hard work we can eliminate the habits, but just now thinking about eliminating them will not help the situation. What we will have to do, first start meditating just the way you are. How bad or how good doesn't matter. The way you are, where you are, in what position you are, start meditating at that point, and slowly increase the time of meditation. Concentrate your mind in between the center of your eyes. Start concentrating. And what happens when we concentrate? It is given in Gita by Lord Krishna that yathe dhansi samidho nirbhasma sat karute Arjuna jnanani sarva karmani bhasma sat karute tatha. That when the fire of knowledge will burn inside you, when you meditate, the light, the energy, the fire will burn inside you, and it will burn all the seeds of karmas, that your past karmas, it will be all burned. Because when we say that habits are cultivated in this life only, I don't believe that. Life's habits are there with us from life to life. From in every birth, we get the habits from past birth. Like suppose, for example, I will tell you that we see small children, very young children, and we see that very young children, some after school getting scolded from their teachers, they tell lies. Very young children telling lies. And some children are truthful in nature, they never tell lies. So in this small age, where did they learn to tell lies, or where did they when did they learn to be truthful? So it is all because of their past life karmas. Their habits are carried carried ahead in every birth we get. So to eliminate from their root, we have to meditate. Meditation is most necessary. So that's why all our saints and philosophers and sages have given us direction that to change your personality, to cultivate good in you, you must connect with the good. And that connecting with the good and the positive is either saintly people, or find the bona fide Sadguru and bow at his lotus feet and surrender. And then he will humble yourself in the sight of God and he will lift you up. So we have learned this from Bible. So when we will humble ourselves in the sight of Guru Maharaj, then Guru Maharaj ji will lift us up and free us up from bondages of bad habits. So there is one story of a king in Indian scriptures, Hindu scriptures, like Bhagavad. There is one story of a king named Bali. So Bali was a king, but before becoming a king, in his past birth, he will money and gamble and spend that money on what we can say bad women. You understand? I don't know how to explain that in English. So he used to spend that money on in the company of bad women. So when he was one day when he was coming from his village and he wanted to go the subject of his love, a woman dancer, so he was going to meet her, and to meet her he taken with him a garland of scented flowers to gift her and sweetmeats to gift her. So he take with him and then he was going to her house. So in between on the road, there was a small temple of Shiva, God Shiva. So it was a small temple and suddenly he saw the temple and he thought, oh, I must go before God Shiva before going to her house. Because he was devotee of God Shiva. Whole life he spent his time stealing money, enjoying life, and all the bad vices. But seeing the temple, he suddenly felt that I must go to Lord Shiva before going ahead. So he came to the temple and he offered the sweetmeats to Shiva and offered that garland and the statue of Shiva. So whatever gifts he was going to give to that woman, he gave to Lord Shiva. And after he went, after some years, what happens that he dies. After his death, his soul was taken by the death of angels to the death of God Yama. So in the next dimension, which we call the Parlok, so his soul was taken by the death angels to the Lord of Death. So Lord of Death standing there said, now check his records, whether what type of karmas he has done, good or bad, and put an account of it and balance them and see what happens. So the accountant of God of Death, Yama, is Chitragupta. So he was sitting there with his register. He opened the register and saw that in the Bali's account, there was only bad karmas, all the bad karmas, no good karmas at all. Only on one page there was written that he once offered sweetmeat with love and devotion to Lord Shiva and offered garland. So what should be the decision of Yama? So Yama said the decision is he will have to spend thousands of years in hell and 2.5 minutes in heaven just for the good karma, one good karma he's done. So he heard the result. So it was asked that it is your choice now whether you want to go to hell first or heaven first, or spend your 2.5 minutes first, or spend first 1,000 of years of hell. So he decided that for 1,000 of years anyway I have to live in hell. So first of all, I will go to heaven and see how is the life there. So he decided to spend 2.5 minutes in heaven. So he was sent to heaven. There he sat on the throne of King of Heaven, Indra. So Indra stand up and stand aside, and he went there and stand on the throne of Indra. And he was told that just from now start the 2.5 minutes time for you. So you will have 2.5 minutes time here. Do whatever you want to do. And by coincidence or whatever we say, suddenly some saints and souls of some higher degree saints and rishis were doing astral travel from earth to heaven. They were able to, by their yogic abilities, were able to travel astral, were able to make astral travel to heaven. So with their bodies, they were traveling. They visited heaven. So Bali saw them, and he bowed before their feet, take their blessings, and then said, "What can I offer to saint? What should I offer?" So he saw heaven. Those things were like very prized as elephant, a very miraculous or magical cow which will milk lots of milk every day, and she would not need any that a miraculous cow she was, and she will give all whatever you wish for, she will produce before you. That cow is called Kamdhenu. So it is famous in Indian scriptures, Kamdhenu. So there were such other precious things in heaven. So he started distributing them to those sages. So he gave the cow, donated the cow to a sage, and donated the elephant to another one, and then donated something else to others. So he donated many such things. And the saints and sages blessed him. Thank you very much, and God bless you. And he got a lot of blessings for the saints. After by doing these donations, 2.5 minutes, he finished 2.5 minutes. So he was called upon by Yama, the god of death. So he was standing in front of Yama. So Yama said, "Now 2.5 minutes is finished. Let us see your record, and you will have to go to hell." So the record was again checked. Then what? To their surprise, what Yama found out, that the record was automatically changed and become nil. So all his sins were cancelled, and all his good karma, he was freed for bad karmas, he was freed from them. So how is this happened? They discussed, and then Yama consulted the higher authorities like Brahmaji. So Brahmaji told him that because of the blessings of the saints, all his bad karmas are vanished, so he will not have to go to hell anymore. So everybody clapped, very happy, and flowers were starting showering. Gods were started showering flowers on King Bali. So said, "So what is the next decision?" So Yama said, "Send him to the earth as a king." So he's got so many blessings of saint that he will be a king in next his birth. So he was born as a king named Bali on the earth, and that story is very famous of King Bali in our scriptures in Bhagavata. So what the message the story gives us is that if you are what the message the message we get from the story is that however bad habits you have, bad sins you have, try to change yourself, meditate, and take the blessing of saints, and try to find Sadguru. And anyway, so I would like to conclude the speech with this short story, and hope you have understood.
Thank you, Baiji, for your inspirational words there. Apologies for a few technical difficulties at the end, but I'm sure everyone here today, I don't need to repeat much of what Baiji said, but everyone will be able to take something away and impart it in their lives that we live today to almost eradicate these bad habits we may well have. So now we'd just like to move on, as we have a couple of minutes left. I'd just like to request the whole audience to have 2 minutes of prayer or meditation for the wellness and peace of humanity, for which then we'll conclude. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for taking part in that. Again, I just want to thank Bayaji for her great message she was able to give to us, and everyone, I'm sure, again, has been able to take on a lot from what has been said today from all speakers. And I'm sure everyone will be able to take something away and impart in their lives and daily living. So thank you to all the speakers. I wish to thank you all for your presence here today on our Spiritual Talk platform. And please do feel free to drop us a note with any comments you may have or questions. If you can just check in the email, in the chat box, you will see an email address there where you can pass on any messages or questions you may have. We'll make sure to try and address any of these in our next topic and our next Spiritual Awareness Journey program, which will be on March the 27th. This will be episode 5, in which the topic will be spiritual meditation. Till then, wishing you all a very healthy and peaceful journey. Please stay safe out there right now with everything going on. And thank you to our sponsor today, Manav Dharam YouTube channel. I was your host, Kavinanda. From all of us, thank you very much and see you soon. Take care.